So we're gonna go ahead and begin in fish pose. So if you have any type of a blanket or even a rolled up sweatshirt will work just fine. We're going to lay down on our backs, extending our legs out long. We're gonna bring the blanket or rolled up sweatshirt or whatever you have available to you kind of underneath your low back. Sort of in between your shoulder blades, low back. You're gonna bring your arms out beside you, or actually you're gonna put your hands underneath your bottom. Sort of lift yourself up in your forearms a little bit and bring the crown of your head to the ground for fish pose. So when you're in this pose, the blanket should be supporting you so that your blanket or your sweatshirt or whatever you have available should be supporting you. So if when you get in this pose you feel like you're uncomfortable, just try rearranging your blanket or whatever it is until you can find a comfortable position. We're going to take a few breaths here in fish pose. So go ahead and close your eyes. Relax into the pose. Focusing on your breath here. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, you can do that now. If you'd like to dedicate your practice to someone, you're welcome to do that as well. And we're just taking a few breaths in fish pose here, supported fish pose with, our blankets or our towels or whatever we have available to us underneath our backs. We'll take another breath and then slowly we'll remove our hands from underneath our bottoms. We'll remove that sweatshirt or blanket or whatever we used and come flat laying on our backs here. And let's reach our arms out long up above our heads, taking a full body stretch. And slowly start to walk your fingertips over to the left and start to walk your feet over to the left as well. So you're making a crescent moon shape with your body here. Should be able to feel a stretch in your side body. Just breathe into the side stretch. And slowly we'll begin walking our hands and our feet back to center. Taking a full body stretch and then gently walking our arms over to the right. And then walking our feet over to the right. Taking that side stretch on the other side, making that crescent moon shape. And very slowly, very gently walking ourselves back to the center position. Taking a full body stretch and then bending into the knees, bringing the feet bottoms to the floor. We're going to measure ourselves off for bridge pose here. So bring your fingertips so that they just touch the, the heels. We're going to take an inhale, and as we inhale, we're going to bring our arms up over our heads. I'm going to move to the other side so it's a little easier. In bridge pose here, as we inhale, we're bringing our arms up over our heads and laying them on the ground above our heads. And then as we exhale, we're going to start lifting our hips at the same time, drawing our arms back down by our sides. Inhale, lower your hips as you raise your arms up over your head. And exhale, lower your arms back down beside you as you raise your hips. And we'll continue with this breathing pattern at your own pace. Inhaling your arms up over your head as your glutes lower. Exhaling, raising your hips as you lower your arms back down by your sides. And just continue flowing like this with your own breath. As fast or as slow as feels good to your body here. And then on your next breath, just bring your arms back down by your sides, lower your hips. We'll bring our feet bottoms together as we let our knees splay out wide, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana here. And we'll bring our arms up over our heads, placing them down on the ground behind us, letting gravity pull our knees down towards the earth, opening our hips here. And then we'll bring our knees together, bring our hands back down by our sides. Go ahead and actually bring them out to a T. You're going to bring your knees together and open your feet as wide as your mat here. So knees are together, feet are far apart. And we're gently just going to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Letting them fall over to one side and very gently bringing them over to the other. And the next time your legs fall over to the right, we'll go ahead and let them fall as far as they can, making sure that we're keeping both shoulder blades pinned against the floor here. And this isn't actually a supine twist, it's actually a side stretch. And if you'd like to get a little deeper into the side stretch, you can take that right ankle and place it on top of the left leg and use that right foot to pull your left leg closer to the ground. Go ahead and release your right foot. Bring your knees back up to center. Maybe windshield wipe them a few more times. Slowly work from one side to the other. And the next time they come over to the left, we'll let them fall gently towards the ground. Making sure we're keeping our shoulder blades pinned to the ground here. And if you'd like to get a little deeper into this side stretch, you can take that left ankle and cross it over the right leg, using the left foot to pull your leg closer to the ground. And remove that left ankle. And we'll bring our knees up. Maybe windshield wiper them a few more times. And roll over to one side. And we'll slowly push ourselves up to a comfortable seated position here. And we'll bring our feet into butterfly, letting our knees fall towards the ground. Take an inhale. Make sure you're sitting up with a nice, straight, long spine here, lifting up through the crown of the head. And let's very gently place our hands on our legs and try and push our legs a little closer to the ground here. Taking a few breaths. Then we're going to bring our feet out a little farther apart, coming into Cobbler Pose. So we're making more of a diamond shape with our legs here. And we're going to scoot our arms underneath. And we're going to come into shell. So we're scooting our arms under our legs so that our hands are coming right about where our feet are. And we're going to use this to draw our bodies down towards our feet. So inhale to find length in your spine. Exhale to draw yourself a little deeper into this stretch. Using your breath to draw your nose closer to your your feet. Inhaling to find length in your spine, exhaling to deepen the stretch. And very slowly we'll begin to rise back up, removing our arms from underneath our legs, stretching our legs out long, flexing our feet. Inhale, rising up, and as you exhale, start to fold over the legs, keeping your spine long as you can, bringing your hands to wherever they fall on your legs. Inhale to lengthen your spine a little more, and as you exhale, start to round down over the legs, rounding your spine here, getting into this forward fold. Inhaling to find length in your spine, and exhaling, folding forward over the legs. Feeling this stretch in the hamstrings and the low back here. Making sure we're flexing our feet, keeping the legs engaged. And as you inhale, roll yourself up vertebrae by vertebrae, back up to a seated position. Head and neck coming up last. And we'll bring the right foot in. And we're going to cross the right foot over the left leg. Wrap the left arm around that right leg. Right arm comes up to the sky. And we're going to twist open to the right as we let that right hand fall to the ground behind us. Sitting up nice and tall, lifting, extending through the crown of the head. over, coming back. We're going to place the right ankle across the left leg now. Sitting up nice and tall once again, and exhaling over that left leg. Feel quite different with the right leg bent here. It's quite a bit more intense. You might not be able to get nearly as close to the leg as you did the first time. And slowly we'll roll ourselves back up. We'll extend that right leg. Maybe give your legs a little shake here if you need it. And we'll bring the left leg in towards the groin. Our right arm will wrap around the left leg. Left arm will come up. And we'll twist ourselves open to the left, placing that left hand behind us, using it to deepen our twist here, making sure we're lengthening through our spine, lifting up through the crown of the head. And slowly we'll come back to center. We'll place the left ankle on top of the right leg. Sitting up nice and tall here and exhaling, coming down, folding over the leg. Inhaling to find length in your spine, exhaling to draw yourself a little deeper into the stretch. And this may feel very different than it did on the other side, just depending on the tightness in your legs. And slowly we'll begin rolling ourselves back up, extending both legs here, giving them a little shake, and then we'll bring our legs back behind us as we come up onto the knees. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. First, we're going to fold ourselves over into a closed-legged child pose. And walking our fingertips out long here. Using the pads of the fingers to draw ourselves deeper into the stretch. And very slowly, we're going to begin walking ourselves back up. And we're going to walk our hands back behind us. Our hands are still going to be facing our body here. And we're going to walk them out behind us as we lift our hips, coming into a modified reverse plank here. Lifting our hips towards the sky, your head can hang back. And very gently, we'll bring our bottoms back to our feet as we walk our hands forward. Coming into child's pose. And slowly we're begin lifting our bottoms up, coming up, stacking the hips above the knees as we continue walking our hands forward, coming into puppy dog pose. Melting your heart towards the ground here, either bringing your chin or your forehead towards the ground, stacking your hips above your knees. Walking your fingertips out as far as you can. And keeping your forearms pressed against the ground, parallel to one another in the number 11. Pushing into the fingertips. We'll slowly start to bring our bodies forward here, coming onto our bellies. We're lifting ourselves up into Sphinx pose. Dropping our hips to the ground, lifting our chests. And pressing into the hands. We'll start lifting our hips up again, stacking our hips above our knees, coming into puppy dog pose, melting our chest towards the ground here. Either bringing our chins or our foreheads to the ground. And walking our hands back as we sit back on our heels to child's pose once again. And slowly we'll begin walking our hands back even further. Bringing our hands so our fingertips are pointing to our bodies, and we'll lift our hips up. I have to move a little bit. Lifting our hips up, coming into that modified reverse plank pose. Lifting your hips, maybe letting your head fall back. And slowly lowering your hips back down as you walk your hands forward. First coming into child's pose. Then lifting your hips, stacking your hips above your knees as you walk your fingertips further, melting your body into puppy pose. Pressing the forearms into the ground as you scooch your hips forward, bringing your hips down to the ground, lifting your chest, coming into Sphinx. Pressing into the hands, begin lifting the hips high, stacking the hips above the knees as you bring your heart melting towards the ground into puppy pose. Walking your hands back as you sit down on your feet to child's pose. And walking your hands back further as you lift yourself up. Hands are pointing towards your body as you lift your hips into modified reverse plank. Perhaps dropping your head back. And slowly we'll lower our hips, walking our hands forward to child's pose. Walking our hands forward as we lift our hips, coming into that puppy pose, stacking the hips above the knees, melting our chest down towards the ground, either bringing our forehead or our chin down to the ground. Pressing our forearms into the mat. We'll inch ourselves forward, lowering our hips, raising our chest, coming into Sphinx pose. And we'll begin lifting the hips, coming through that puppy dog pose, walking the hands back and coming to child's pose. We'll take an inhale here, and as we exhale, we'll draw ourselves up to tabletop. Taking a moment to check our alignment, making sure that our wrists are below our shoulders, our knees are below our hips. Our belly button is pulled into our spine, and our back is long and flat from the crown of our head to our tailbone. We'll take a breath here, and we'll start to slowly circle the hips from side to side. And then we'll reverse the direction of our hip circles. We'll find stillness. We'll take an inhale here, and as we exhale, we'll start pulling our belly button into our spine, arching our back, bringing our chin to our chest for cat pose. And inhaling, letting our belly drop, raising our sternum, opening our throat for cow, and sitting back on our heels to child's pose. Taking an inhale here, exhaling, drawing ourselves back up to that cat pose, really arching the back, bringing the chin into the chest. Inhaling, letting our belly drop, raising the sternum, opening the throat for cow, and sitting back on the heels to child's pose. And we'll go ahead and continue flowing like this a few more times with your own breath, as fast or slow as feels good to your body. Really making sure you're over exaggerating the movements here to get the most out of the stretch. This is such a good stretch for anybody who has lower back pain, along with forward folds and supine twists. So working with your own breath. And the next time you come to child's pose, we'll hold. Taking a breath here, stretching the fingertips out long. Maybe using the pads of the fingertips to grip the mat and pull yourself a little farther into the stretch. Taking an inhale here and using that exhale to draw yourself up to tabletop position. Taking a moment to check yourself in tabletop. And we'll step our right foot forward in between our hands, coming to a modified low lunge here. You can place your hands on your thigh to pull yourself up. We'll take an inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to draw ourselves back into a back bend, tucking our chin back, raising our sternum towards the sky. And we'll bring our shoulder blades together for Cactus Backbend. Arms will reach up as we straighten ourselves. Hands will come to prayer, and we're going to twist to the right here, hooking that left elbow outside of the right thigh, pressing into the hands, pressing our arm into that right leg, using that to twist ourselves a little deeper. Making sure to stay active in this pose, keeping ourselves lifted. And if you'd like to, you can open the arms up here to deepen the pose. And we'll bring our hands back to prayer. We'll twist back to center. Once again, we'll rise our arms up to the sky. This time we're going to dip forward into the hips, coming into a hip flexor stretch here. At the same time, raising our sternum up, coming into that back bend, cactusing our arms, taking the cactus back bend here, squeezing those shoulder blades together. And we'll begin to rise up. Our hands will come down to frame the foot, stacking the left hip on top of the knee. Slowly we'll start to walk our right heel out towards the front, coming into half split. Inhaling to find length in our spine, exhaling to draw our nose down closer to the knee. Inhaling to find length, exhaling to deepen the stretch here. Feeling the stretch in the hamstring. Flexing those right toes, keeping that right leg active. Using the strength of your own breath. And slowly we'll begin to lift ourselves up, bringing that right knee back in line for low lunge, and eventually bringing that right knee back for table. Maybe taking a couple hip circles or a cat-cow if it feels good. Eventually we'll find stillness and table again, and then we'll step that left knee forward, into a modified low lunge, bringing our hands to the thigh to lift ourselves up. Arms reach up, pulling that belly button into our spine. We'll slowly start bending back, bringing that sternum up towards the sky, tucking our chin in, coming into a back bend, cactusing our arms, pulling our shoulder blades together. And arms will reach up. We'll bring our hands to prayer and we'll twist open to the left now. Pressing into the hands, pressing that right arm into the left leg, using that to deepen our twist. Making sure we're keeping our bodies lifted here. Making sure we're not collapsing. Ourselves strong. And if you'd like to, you can extend the arms, opening up. And our hands will come back to prayer. We'll center ourselves. Bringing our arms forward. We're going to start deepening into the hip here, tilting our hips forward, leaning in, giving this hip flexor stretch at the same time, bringing our sternum up towards the sky, taking a back bend, tucking our chin back, cactusing our arms, pulling those shoulder blades together. And extending back up. Our hands will come down to frame the foot, and we'll slowly begin walking that left foot forward, eventually coming up, lifting the left toes, coming up on that left heel as we come into half split. Inhaling to find length in our spine and exhaling to fold ourselves over that left leg. Inhale, lengthening the spine, exhaling, drawing our nose a little closer to our knee. And continue using your breath to get as deep into the stretch as you can, feeling this in the hamstring. And very slowly we'll start to lift ourselves up. Start to bring your knee back. And eventually we'll bring our knee back to the ground to find table pose. And we'll spread our fingertips wide and press into the hands. Making sure that our knees are stacked below our hips, our wrists are below our shoulders, our belly button is pulled into our spine, and our back is long and flat. And really, really press into the hands here. We're going to tuck our toes and lift our knees an inch above the ground for bear pose. Then we're going to start pressing our chest back towards our thighs, coming into halfway down dog, and slowly start pedaling the feet as we lift ourselves up into downward facing dog. And you can continue to pedal the feet here. Maybe shifting the hips from side to side if it feels good. Make sure you're pressing into the hands, pressing your chest back towards your thighs. And very slowly we'll come up on the toes as we come forward into plank pose. We'll drop our knees to the ground, and in one long straight line, we'll start lowering our bodies. Elbows are close to our sides as we lower down for Chaturanga Dandasana. And pressing into the hands, we can either lift ourselves up into baby cobra, king cobra, or up dog. And then we'll flip the toes as we come into downward facing dog once again. And slowly we'll look forward between the hands and keeping our legs as straight as long as we can. We'll tiptoe up towards the top of the mat, coming into forward fold. Bending into the knees as much as we need to. And let's go ahead and grab our elbows here and slowly rotate from side to side. Letting our bodies hang. And go ahead and release your hands back to the mat. Pressing your hands into your shins, lift yourself up halfway. Legs are long and straight, back is flat, coming into your halfway lift. Exhale, folding down once again. Bring your hands to your hips, lift your elbows, lift your chest, lift your chin, coming up with a flat back. Inhale, arms reach, and exhale your hands to prayer. Another breath. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale your hands to prayer. This time we're going to inhale, our arms are going to reach up. We're going to step the right foot in front of the left. And we're going to come into a back bend here, lifting our sternum up towards the sky. And we'll cactus our arms once again. Inhale, reach up, lengthening the spine. Exhale, swan diving down with a flat back. Coming to that forward fold. Bending into the knees as much as you need to, and then beginning to straighten, coming to that halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we'll reverse swan dive up with a flat back. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll uncross the legs and we'll cross the left leg in front of the right. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming into that back bend and that cactus back bend. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, swan diving down with a flat back. To that forward fold, bending the knees as much as you need to. Then straightening the legs for that halfway lift. Forward fold. And reverse swan diving up with a flat back. Hands come to prayer. We'll uncross the legs. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, swan diving down to that forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. And we'll straighten the left leg, bending the right leg. We'll walk our hands over to the right. Feeling that stretch in the outside of the left leg here. And we'll walk ourselves back to center, straighten the right leg this time, bending the left as we walk our hands over to the left. Feeling that stretch in the outside, the right leg now. And we'll walk our hands back to center, forward folding, halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive up. Exhale, hands to prayer. We're going to step the right leg back about 2/3 of the way onto the mat. We're going to come into warrior one pose. So we want to make sure that both of our hips are pointing towards the short edge of the mat. Hips are square. We want to make sure we're pulling our belly button into our spine, lifting up nice and tall here. And that if you are feeling discomfort, you can bring your legs a little wider on your mat, closer to the outside edges. That should make it a little more comfortable. Inhale, arms reach up here. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time. Inhale, arms reach up. At the same time, straighten that left leg. And exhale, bend a little deeper into that warrior one. Inhale, reach as you straighten that left leg. Exhale, bending that left knee, coming back into warrior one. Inhale, straightening that left leg. Exhale, bending diving back into that warrior one. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to bend into the warrior one pose. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling back into warrior one. Inhale one more time, straighten that front leg. This time we're going to start folding forward, coming into pyramid pose. If you have blocks or anything to use, you can place your hands on the blocks. Otherwise, place your hands on your leg or the floor, whatever's available to you. Both hip points should still be facing forward. Coming into pyramid pose here. Inhaling to find length in your spine. Exhaling to draw your nose closer to your knee. We're trying to straighten this left front leg. Another good hamstring stretch. Using our breath to fold ourselves more over this leg. And then we'll start bending into the left knee once again, sweeping our arms up, coming into that warrior one pose. And we'll step the right foot in, coming into Tadasana once again. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, swan diving down for that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan diving up. And this time we'll step the left leg back about 2/3 of the way onto the mat. Coming into warrior one pose, taking a moment to check your alignment here, making sure that both hips are pointing forwards. Hips are square. If you're uncomfortable, you can heel toe that foot out a little farther to the edge of the mat. Inhale, arms reach. Inhale, we're going to straighten that right front leg, and exhale, we're going to bend back into warrior one. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, bending back into warrior one. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bending back into that warrior one. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. And the next time you straighten that leg, we'll hold for a moment here, and then slowly we'll start to fold over the leg, coming into pyramid pose. Adjusting your feet a little bit if you need to, but making sure that both of your hips are still pointing towards the front of the mat, that they're both square here. But if you need to heel toe your feet a little closer, that's fine. Inhaling to find length in your spine. Exhaling to fold over that right leg, draping your body here. Inhaling to find length. Exhaling to pull yourself deeper into the stretch, making sure that you can feel it in this right hamstring. Using your breath to draw yourself as deep into the stretch as your body will allow. And slowly we'll begin bending into that right knee as we lift ourselves back up to warrior one. We'll step that left foot forward, coming into Tadasana. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, swan diving down. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands and step your feet back. Coming into plank pose. We'll drop our knees to the ground and slowly lower ourselves down. Elbows are hugging the ribs here. You can come into your baby cobra, cobra, or up dog, and then flip the toes, coming into downward facing dog. And we'll take a few moments here to pedal the feet. Pressing into the hands, pressing our chest back towards our thighs. And we'll open our feet a little wider, and we'll begin walking our hands back towards our feet, coming into forward fold on the back of the mat. Go ahead and heel toe your feet in together, deepening this forward fold here. Pressing into your shins for halfway lift. Forward fold, reverse swan, diving up with a flat back. Hands come to prayer. Inhale, arms reach. We'll lift that right knee up towards our chest. We'll bring that right knee out to the side, and you can leave your right toes on the ground coming into tree pose. You can put your right foot on your calf, or you can bring your right foot all the way up to your thigh. Whatever feels good to you in tree pose. And you can have your hands at prayer, or you can extend them. And we'll bring our knee back in towards our chest. We'll wrap our left hand on the outside edge of that right leg as we twist open to the right, bringing our right arm back behind us. Inhaling back to center, extending that right leg out long, and slowly bringing that right foot back down. Go ahead and shake out your body a little bit, shake your legs, roll your shoulders. Do what you need to do. Inhale, arms reach up. Draw that left knee in towards the chest. Bring the left knee out to the side. Tenting the left toes down on the ground, bringing the left foot to the calf or to the thigh. Whatever feels good to your tree pose today. Hands at your heart center, extending your arms up to the sky. Just do whatever's right for your body today. And we'll bring our left knee back towards our chest. Our right hand will grab the outside edge of the left leg. Our left arm will go back behind us as we twist open to the left. We'll center our bodies, arms reaching up. Kick that left leg out in front of us and slowly bring it back down. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And we'll slowly start walking our hands out in front of us, coming into plank pose. And we'll drop the knees as we come into tabletop. Taking a moment to align ourselves in tabletop, making sure our wrists are below our shoulders, our knees are below our hips. Pressing into the hands here. We'll come up on the left toes, extending that the right arm out long, and slowly lift up the left toes as we lift the right arm, pulling our belly button into our spine here, protecting our lower back. We'll bring the right arm out to the right. At the same time, we'll bring the left leg out to the left and come back to center. Out to the side, and come back to center. Out to the side, come back to center. to the side, come back to center, to the side, and back to center. And we'll bring that right hand back down, replace the left knee. Take a moment to check our alignment, making sure we're pressing into the hands. We'll extend those right toes, lift up that left arm, and slowly kick up that left heel. Extending the left leg. We'll bring extending the right leg. Bring the left arm to the left, the right leg to the right, and back to center, out to the side, and back to center, to the side, back to center. Making sure you're squeezing that belly button into your spine, protecting your lower back here. And slowly replacing the hand, replacing the knee. Go ahead and take a couple little hip circles if you need to, maybe even a cat-cow if it feels good, just to release that lower back. And slowly we'll sit back on the heels, coming into child's pose. And then gently we'll roll ourselves over onto our backs. We'll bring the right knee in towards the chest. We'll bring that left leg up, flexing the left foot. We'll cross the right ankle over the left leg, coming into a reclined pigeon pose. And we'll use our hands to pull that left leg in towards us. At the same time, our right elbow is pressing into our right leg, pushing the right leg away as we pull the left leg towards us. Feeling this hip opener. And then slowly we'll begin to release our arms. Bring your right arm out to the side, and you're going to use your left hand to bring that right foot bottom down to the ground on the left side, coming into a twist here. Keeping both shoulder blades pinned against the ground. If your neck allows it, you can look over to the right. Using that left hand to draw the right leg down closer on the left side. Bring your head back to center. Slowly we'll begin to lift the legs, uncrossing them. Kick both legs up to the sky. Point and flex the feet a few times. And then we'll cross that left ankle over the right thigh. We'll use both arms to wrap behind the right leg, pulling the right leg in. At the same time, the left elbow is pressing against the left leg, pushing the left leg away from us as we pull the right leg in. Making sure we're flexing both feet, keeping both legs active here. Feeling this hip flexor stretch. slowly beginning to loosen the arms, removing the arms, bringing that right hand to the left leg, pulling that left leg over to the right, pulling that left leg down as far as is comfortable to you, making sure we're keeping both shoulder blades in contact with the floor, looking over to the left if your neck allows it, enjoying this twist. We'll lift our heads back to center first, slowly raising our legs up back to center, uncrossing the legs, bringing the feet bottoms up towards the sky. Point and flex the feet a few times. Point the right toes and slowly bring the right leg down to the right corner of the mat. Point the left toes and slowly bring the left leg down to the left corner of the mat. Roll the shoulder blades under here. And go ahead and close your eyes as we come into Shavasana. Allow your body to melt into the mat. Take a moment to be thankful for everything that your body did for you. Take a moment to be thankful that you took this time out for yourself. If you set an intention for your practice, I invite you to come back to that now. If you dedicated your practice to someone, I invite you to think about them as well. Otherwise, just melt into the mat. Be still. You can stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. I wish you health and happiness. Namaste.